New Orleans man posed as NFL player Earl Thomas in $1.9 million identity theft scheme, JPSO says. Let's get into this right now. This is your Nashville lawyer, Andrew Beasley, and of course the key may be right under this, says the suspect is dating the player's ex-wife, authorities say. So a New Orleans man pretended to be a former NFL player, Earl Thomas III, in order to steal money from his bank accounts, cash, his NFL checks, and transfer ownership of several vehicles in a $1.9 million identity theft scheme, Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office investigators said. This is pretty much, and I try to say in all my videos, this guy is presumed innocent, as well as Earl Thomas's ex-wife, who may or may not have had anything to do with this. They're both presumed innocent, but what is being alleged is pretty much textbook identity theft. Tennessee Code calls it right here. Person commits the offense who knowingly obtains, possesses, buys, or uses personal identifying information of another with intent to commit any unlawful act, including but not limited to obtaining credit, goods, services, or medical information. And of course, there's some other conditions there too, but at least what's being alleged by the police is that was exactly what was going on in this case. Kevin J Thompson, 38, was arrested in June on charges including identity theft, forgery, money laundering, credit card fraud, computer fraud, and bank fraud, said Sergeant Brandon Veal. Thompson is in a relationship with Thomas's ex-wife, Nina Thomas, who is from New Orleans, according to authorities. He used a driver's license with his photo, but the NFL player's information to create a phony bank account, transfer vehicle titles, authorities said, including the blue Rolls-Royce SUV he drove to the bank where he was arrested. Wow, this is pretty notable, and I'll go out on a limb. They talk about here in a minute about of course some federal interest. I mean, what you've got here is a scheme over $1 million. You have it involving a well-known person, meaning the victim is NFL player Earl Thomas, and then his ex-wife, Nina Thomas. They're not alleging that she was involved at this point, but it is highly suspect that her boyfriend is the one doing this. So you have a theft, you have an identity theft, you have a scheme over $1.9 million, you have well-known people involved. I would think this is a case that would generate some federal interest, and it still might. After being released from jail, that is Thompson, tried to get the Rolls-Royce back from the sheriff's office, authorities said, but he arrived in a car reported stolen in Atlanta and was arrested again. So this guy allegedly is deep in a whole lot of different schemes that it sounds like the police are onto at this point. Impersonating Thomas. Thomas, 34, first-round draft pick, played 9 seasons for the Seattle Seahawks as a central member of the team's Legion of Boom defense. The 3-time All-Pro safety won the Super Bowl in 2013 before he transferred to the Ravens in 2019. They cut him in 2020. He had a tumultuous breakup with Nina Thomas, including a 2020 incident in which she was accused of holding him at gunpoint after she found him with another woman in Austin. That's what's being alleged. So, okay, that was a pretty bitter divorce. Sheriff's Office investigators say Thompson used the fake driver's license to open an account in Thomas's name at Jefferson Federal Credit Union in May 2022. Over the next year, Thompson moved money from Thomas's account to phony accounts. At least $700,000 was wired into the Jefferson Federal account. Thompson would then withdraw cash, including a $50,000 withdrawal in May of 23. He's accused of depositing the players' NFL checks into fraudulent accounts. So, again, this is is textbook identity theft, as it is being alleged. Let's see if we can get to where the federal interest. They talk about the vehicles. And of course, the federal government is not going to, talk about their ongoing investigation. All right, here we go. Federal investigators are also involved in the case, which includes financial dealings in Thomas's home state of Texas, according to authorities. Additional charges are possible, Veal said. No one else has been arrested in connection with the investigation, Veal said. Thompson is free on a $730,000 bond, and his attorney, Jeffrey Smith, declined to comment. All right, so I agree with the attorney. There's probably not a whole lot to say at this point. I look at this as a former prosecutor. The number one thing in any type of financial or what they might call white-collar crime is restitution. You want to make sure your victim gets repaid and made whole, or at least as whole as they can be made. I did a video about Sam Bankman-Fried not that long ago, and I mean, clearly what often happens when people accused of these types of crimes, or someone like Sam Bankman-Fried who's actually been convicted of wire fraud, the money has very long ago been spent, and there may not be any ability to make restitution here. But the first priority of any prosecutor is going to be to try to make Earl Thomas whole, it sounds like they've already recovered some of his vehicles, and to get as much of the cash back as possible. As far as the defense attorney, there probably isn't a whole lot to say at this point. Sounds like the arrest is pretty new. Probably wants to get the discovery and see what his client, Mr. Thompson, is actually charged with before running his mouth in the media. That's pretty smart. But I think, to me, the real question is whether Thomas's ex-wife, Nina Thomas, had any involvement, or whether they can prove that she had any involvement. I've seen enough of these cases where you might think, hey, they had this terrible breakup. She's holding a gun at his head, allegedly, according to the Austin American-Statesman paper, that she was holding him at gunpoint. So clearly they had a bad divorce. She was accusing him of cheating. She's with this other guy, Mr. Thompson, now, who's accused of identity theft and many other crimes. So there would probably be a judgment to say she may be involved, and she may be. But, I mean, the defense, I'm sure, immediately would be, hey, this, I didn't know anything that he was doing. Mr. Thompson targeted Nina Thomas because she was Earl Thomas's ex-wife, so that Mr. Thompson came into the relationship with this whole scheme. Mr. Thompson came into this relationship with this whole scheme, and he targeted Nina Thomas, not the other way around. Not that Nina Thomas, there's a lot that goes into that. The evidence, that they may end up singing on each other. Who knows? That will play out in the coming months. But this is a very big case. High profile enough that I would not be surprised if there's some federal involvement, even though apparently this has started out in Jefferson Parish, and the wife, I think, is going to be interesting to see how the investigation plays out there. But then again, she's presumed innocent. She's not even arrested or formally accused of anything at this point. And Mr. Thompson is is presumed innocent as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. But thank you for watching the analysis, and I'll see you again real soon. Thanks.